Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I presume?
Correct. With whom do I have the pleasure?
Emilio Estevaux. Happy to make your acquaintance. I am here on behalf of Mycroft, your brother. He's on his way to Cordona. In the meantime, he requests your assistance with a sensitive matter. My orders are to provide you with the details.
I'm afraid I don't have time for this now.
I hope that you will reconsider. If you do, I'll be here.
Just look at this thing. It's huge.
It's a bizarre object, and yet oddly familiar.
Did you just remember something?
Yes. A room full of curiosities and artifacts. I think I can find it in the manor.
Sherlock. So, you continue to pursue the imaginary. I had hoped you might have got all this out of your system by now.
Mycroft, what are you doing here? Get out of my house.
It's my house, actually. I've come to bring you back.
I have no interest in returning, let alone with you. I know you lied about Mother all these years, claiming she was merely ill, but she was unstable. She never had tuberculosis. She was not recuperating, but mentally deteriorating, and you never once thought to tell me. How dare...
I shall not indulge this petulant tantrum. You can just tire yourself out and then slink back to London with your tail between your legs.
Just tell me everything! I'm an adult now. Show me the basic courtesy of an explanation. You know I will find out eventually.
The goal was stability, and that's what you got. The right thing for everyone was to try and move on from her passing.
The consequences of one's actions determines what is right or wrong.
Yes, exactly. The ends justify the means. After leaving Cordona, Sherlock, you had a normal childhood. In London, I was able to support you, guide you, shape you into a fine and productive young man. You have so much potential, so much to offer society.
But that's not the end. Now I found the truth, and it has shattered everything I knew about her, about you, and about myself. I feel unstable because of you. Your actions were not justified. Lying never is.
Oh, grow up, Sherlock. It was a white lie which has as much use in the realm of the interpersonal as the international. It is time you come to accept that some things are bigger than yourself.
Oh, you are full of it. You like to pretend you care about the big picture, but it's just an ego trip. You like knowing more than others. You like greasing palms and rubbing shoulders with the rich and powerful. You like having eyes and ears everywhere. The fact it helps the nation is incidental, because all you care about is yourself.
It's true. I have agents everywhere, including Cordona. If you weren't so damn stubborn, you'd realize that means I'm only here for you.
Just look at this thing. It's huge.
I remember returning home with a pair of perfect sticks. We wanted to turn them into training swords.
Oh, that's right. We stood there, frozen, staring at something huge in the main hall. It was a giant aquarium with a living mermaid in it.
Impossible. It must have been something else. Oh, of course, that mortifying hoax presently taking up space in our front yard.
Well, fine. Your memory's better than mine. But I'm sure we started examining it immediately. And someone else was around too.
It was my mother. She asked what I thought of the artifact.
You were really concentrating and holding something in your hand.
I inspected it with a magnifying glass and was able to confirm it was made of 2 different skeletons. The mermaid was a fake.
And so it was time to smash the thing. Your mother took a hammer and...
Slow down, John. That's not how it happened. I remember other people joined us. The workers took the artifact and placed it into the cabinet of curiosities. It became part of Mother's collection of fakes. She always said that the truth lies in the details. This mermaid helped me to learn that. Ah yes, my mother's studio. She was an authenticator, and this was her cabinet of curiosities.
I never saw the point. What does it matter if some artifact is real or not? It still exists.
Mother said this was among the hunting trophies of a Scottish Viscount.
So he tried to persuade everyone that his forest was inhabited by these beasts. It would have been thrilling if it were actually true.
One of the most ridiculous fakes I ever saw. Its owner insisted it was a polar bear. He thought the white paint on the brown fur wasn't noticeable. The full plate armour of Sir Robert Saunford. I was told my father won it in a wager.
Armour is armour, but look at his sword. Oh, how badly I wanted to wield the blade. Maybe you take it instead of your pistol.
Clearly, it was deliberately torn. I wonder why someone would do that. An impressive number of bookmarks. Someone was rather obsessed with this subject. The Tulpa, Studies in Tibetan Mentalism. And this one was brought from a German museum. They claimed it belonged to Vikings. Nonsense, of course. Vikings never had horns on their helmets. The so-called mummy of a Persian princess. The defrauders did good work, but missed one small detail. It's the mummy of a man. This photo caused a lot of fuss. My mother spent some time to prove it was a fake.
Look, it's Roger. This jolly old man's well preserved. Even looks refreshed.
I doubt he drew much interest at the auction.
That's for the best. I'd be upset if he fell into the wrong hands.
So many calling cards. Mycroft liked to keep useful people at hand. Reliable and driven. I recognize Mycroft's handwriting. Officer Luciano J. Placido. This drawer was always closed. Only Mycroft knew how to open it.
I remember we tried to break it open and spy on him, but alas, had no success.
Carefully
Maybe
opened.
today's the day. Oh, Sherry.
Dated 24th of April, 1869. I'm starting to remember something. Oh, I remember these. We used them to spar together until Mycroft found out and forbade us from using real weapons.
It's a pity how many amazing things are missing from this room.
I remember this cozy blanket. It was perfect for...
Wigwam! Oh, that was a joy to build them. Imagining ourselves as wayfarers on the other side of the world.
Another fake Holy Grail. Its owner claimed to be the heir of King Arthur. Scarcely believable. He also insisted a deadly rabbit was hunting him. Ah, the memory comes back. We snuck about watching him.
He closed the drawer and went to the hall. We were like two shadows crawling behind him.
The painting on the wall was slightly at tilt. He stopped and straightened it. Then he threw some logs into the fire and sat in his armchair to read.
It's as boring now as it was then. I'm sorry, Sherry, but I think that's it.
Wait, John, we never use the fireplace in the mornings. What if...
I heard footsteps upstairs a second ago. Wait, do we have an attic here? This time I was first to pick beds. This one's mine now.
A bit of juniper in the fireplace created a soothing atmosphere. It's the little things, isn't it? I think this is what we're looking for.
We made it. So what's there?
Single malt whiskey, Mycroft's favourite. Gifted by Queen Victoria herself. dossiers on the most influential people on Cordona. Mycroft always had a habit of building files on everyone he met. Otto Richter. This one is rather thick. Mycroft can be truly dogged in his research. This photo caused a lot of fuss. I used this ladder to look at the top shelf, right? On the day of Mother's breakdown upstairs.
Right you are, Sherry.
We heard a noise. I can't recall of exactly what, and we didn't have a great view from behind the statue. Books and papers from the table somehow ended up on the floor. Now it's coming to the surface. I feel it.
Come on, Sherry. Let's go outside. Wait. Did you hear that? Come here, Sherry.
You call this progress? Charlatan, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
So there was a quarrel between them. I heard a noise in the hall. Let's check it out. Sherry, look! We've got a parcel here. An invitation that comes with a mask. We can't miss this, Sherry.
Enjoy the evening, sir. There is still plenty of time before the grand finale.
All right.
What if I write an article about these people here? Can you help me gather information about Cordona's... My goodness, Sherlock, they made a blood fountain.
No, John, it's definitely not blood, just wine. Gahors at a guess?
Sherlock! Friend! I wasn't sure you'd come.
Werner, I see you are not yourself.
The more time you spend here in Cordona, the more I feel it my duty to bring you into our world and show you all we have to offer.
And what is on offer today?
Pleasure, indulgence, relief, and relaxation. You've earned some time for yourself, have you not?
Those who know me would say I'm incapable of it.
Nonsense. I refuse to believe there is anyone permitted to know Sherlock Holmes.
You may be right.
Then free yourself from inhibition and expectation. The night is young, and so are the guests. You should try to enjoy both. It's not healthy for handsome men to spend every night alone, and certainly not in a house filled with such melancholic memories.
I must admit, my travels have proven more taxing than expected. I'm less confident in my life and myself. Time of relaxation seems a distant dream.
So can I tempt you with a physical aid to your moral consolations? There's wine, of course, and something to smoke, or perhaps an artificial paradise? Yes, something more spiritual. A potentiator to sharpen the mind. A 7% solution of, well, that'd be telling, but you must try it.
My mind is my most valuable asset, and a finely tuned instrument I will not risk impeding its function. My ultimate duty is to provide the world with truth, and I do that perfectly well as is.
Duty? You've never cared about that before.
Of course I do. Exposing a lie, revealing a fact, that is a moral responsibility.
That's not morality. Morals are what happens afterwards when truth collides with consequence. Do you ever follow up on cases you solved? Do you ever see what happened next, visit the victims, ensure justice is served in the courts? And how do you choose where to direct your attention? Are there not deserving causes to which your brilliance could be applied but isn't?
You ascribe me more power than I possess. I have a narrow skill set and work within that mandate. What occurs afterward is irrelevant.
With every action or inaction, you place a finger on the scales of morality. Many in the city would see you as abdicating your responsibility.
I haven't.
Not me, of course. Morality is subjective, just like truth. There is little to be gained from indulging in it, and far better things to indulge in. Now I must insist on easing any burdens I've placed upon your shoulders. Show yourself a kindness, and try this rather delectable concoction.
I am perfectly capable of coping with myself without medical assistance.
Then I shall press you on it no further. But please do not refuse my gift. Take it with you as a souvenir of this special night.
Souvenir of what, exactly? But, all right, if only to put the matter to bed.
And now, our evening begins in earnest. I just remembered. I'm sorry, Sherlock. My mind's delightfully impaired. Please take this key. It opens the altar room, past the library.
Pardon? altar room. What now, Werner?
Go quickly and find our Fabio. Only you can make him talk. I'll join you in a minute.
You know what was here before Manchio's fall.
Curtains do not guarantee privacy.
And you still need a crack, despite being ethereal.
I'm coming, Sherry. Just give me another second.
Manchio's had to enforce the masks after the scandal. Manchio's had to enforce...
That's what I like about this party. Bring me more dirt, Sherry. One more piece, and I can expose these base hedonists.
You know what was here before Manchio's fall. You know what was here. You know what was here.
I'll pin them down with this scoop. Thank you, Sherlock.
well-known and recent plays to keep up to date with the current trends.
One of these books must open a secret passage. I know it. My God. Was he here this whole time?
This crude tattoo partially covers a slave branding. A blunt-force trauma may have suffered an internal hemorrhage. This golden handle has a bloodstain on it. The dagger is heavy and sharp, but lacks balance. This worm-like sigil has been drawn with his own blood. The victim has clenched the fabric so firmly in his fist that it's nigh impossible to remove it. The wound is deep. A precise strike reached the heart. He died right here. The herbs here are Salvia divinorum. They have a slight hallucinogenic effect to emphasize the ceremony. This elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger. This oil has a slight aroma of flowers and olive. This one looks like a twisted symbol of Venus, drawn in a hurry. This one looks like a twisted symbol of Venus, drawn in a hurry. Werner, care to explain what is going on here?
On nights like these, it's not unusual for some attendees to get a little exuberant. It's part of the appeal. Unfortunately, it appears things have gotten out of hand. Yes, some are more prone to bend the rules of morality.
That's murder. I doubt there's anything left to bend. Why did you not tell me immediately? We were chatting about trivial matters for some time.
If I'm completely honest, Sherlock, I've consumed a rather potent cocktail of substances. My attention slips and drifts. But I'm glad I thought to call for you.
You sent me a disguise.
Oh dear, did I? Well, since I found the body, Mr. Manchios has agreed that you can investigate the matter. I promise my mind will behave itself going forward.
All right. Pull yourself together, Werner. What is it about these nights that you were so eager to share with me?
Well, they're not always in the evenings, but they are in the shadows. People gather to test their boundaries in a safe and consensual atmosphere, often with more stains than your typical crime scene. But that is the point. Who are we to judge?
I suppose that's fair. What about today, then? Was anything different?
Well, I was invited as a special guest. It was supposed to be a time of both divine and carnal pleasures. A scratch for every unconventional itch.
I imagine you're reeling from your shattered expectations.
On the contrary, There is still spectacle, stimulation, and release, merely in a different form. I like to let life entertain me.
Or death. Mr. Manchios is the owner of the manor, yes?
And the host of Cordona's most memorable parties. He promises even the ugliest guest a partner for the night. And for the ones with more unconventional tastes, Mr. Manchios provides other services.
What a caring person.
You cannot begin to imagine.
How did you discover the body? In between guzzles of alcohol?
I was set to perform in a fecundity rite with Fabio and came to inquire further. It was a staged ritual where he was to play the principle of life.
And the rehearsal was unsuccessful?
Who knows? I found him alone on the altar, his blood dripping to the floor.
And then?
Then I called Mr. Manchios. He was panicking, so I told him about you. We left the room and locked the door. Then we were...
Filling time?
Waiting for you was stressful. We indulged in some simple comforts. Overindulged, perhaps.
Were you well acquainted with Fabio, the victim?
Everyone knew Fabio, or wanted to. His beauty was the talk of the island. Too handsome to go unnoticed. He was magnetic. Fat wallets fought for the privilege of having him. He offered the pleasures of performance, and more.
What about the fertility ritual? There was something about Fabio being a principle of life.
Fabio was supposed to portray the beauty of life's origin. Flowers, oil. Not this travesty that seems straight out of the Inquisition.
So this ritual is not the fertility rite. What was it meant to look like?
It begins with a woman lying naked in a flower bed on the altar. She represents Gaia, the earth. As I cover her in oils, we chant for the principle. As our calls reach a climax, Fabio enters and copulates with her. After he finishes, I stab her with a dagger. That part's just pretend, of course.
But the intercourse is not?
I did not expect you to be such a prude. Are you a virgin? It is nothing to be ashamed of, but it would explain the color of your cheeks. The fertility rite marks the start of our festivities. The principle of life is beautiful, intimate, essential. It must not be stopped.
Yet it appears that someone did stop it. What about the naked woman? Can you tell me anything about her?
Oh, yes, Matista. She's one of Fabio's compatriots and a performer, too. I haven't seen her today, actually.
When you discovered the body, was the door open?
No, it was locked. Oh, that reminds me. It's a minor detail, but the first time I came to speak to Fabio, I left without entering, having been unable to open the door.
You didn't have the key?
No, I had it. Don't look at me like that. I was mostly sober. I suspect there was a key in the other side of the door, blocking the lock.
That detail may very well be major, Werner. Well done. So you returned later only to find the lock was not blocked?
Correct. After an hour had passed, I tried again and was able to unlock the door. That's when I discovered poor, handsome Fabio.
The police remain unaware of this tragic event?
Some of them may be hiding behind their masks. They conceal many things. But we didn't want the authorities to create more problems. Besides, after a few cocktails, their incompetence will have soared to new heights.
How do you know I even want the case?
I promised you relaxation. If there's one thing I know about you, Sherlock, it's that nothing soothes you more than a good mystery.
Enough cigars to burn down the entire mansion. Why don't people tidy up after themselves? Blood. A sturdy bottle met a not-so-sturdy human. It didn't break only because it was unopened. An open wound spoiled the carpet. The pitcher is empty, but with puddles around it. Blood clots are adhered to the sides of the drain. Identical to the robes the guests are wearing. This is a different ritual.
How can anyone accept such behaviour?
A useful tool for a disguise arsenal. Handcrafted and luxurious cufflinks. There's also a note. For my Fabio, Manchos.
Would you recognise me in one of these? I suppose not.
The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me. The capital F on the key fob might refer to Fabio. Similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains. A person leaned against the doorframe. They left a smudged trail of blood. The wounded person was here for some time. A bloody handprint on an armchair. There appear to be no further traces leading to the altar.
So, Sherry, do you have any ideas about the case?
Perhaps. I think I can deduce what happened here.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate. You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
The bottle was used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door. The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloodied robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
Are you all right? You're on the floor, not moving.
I think I know what happened here. I'm starting to put the pieces together.
Fabio was stabbed.
I see nothing gets past you, Werner. Yes, he was stabbed, but only after being knocked out in the next room and placed here. I do not yet know why.
So, who's responsible?
Well, it was one person working alone, and the murderer has now donned a robe. He or she could be hiding in plain sight. We have lost time, Werner, but your discretion may prove to be a benediction after all. The murderer had to have access to this room. After the crime, he used his own key to lock the door. So, who had the key to the altar room?
I'm not sure. As a special guest, I was provided one by Mr. Manchios. He should be able to tell you of any others.
Where can I find him?
Most likely in the main hall, entertaining his guests. He has a mask with golden stars. You can't miss him. But please be discreet. We don't want to risk disturbing the revelry. I know you can untangle this mess.
Kurt Manchios, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchios. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you. The body in the altar room requires answers, and quickly. I suspect the murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
Did you know Fabio well?
People are starting to look at us, Sherlock. Change the subject. I can't believe what happened to him. To me. Such an atrocity. Think what it means for me. A wonderful evening for so many good, influential, and rich people has been ruined. I have betrayed all my promises of exotic delights.
I don't understand. Surely a murder would affect your reputation to a greater extent.
Please, isn't this why you are here? I thought you were a silent magician. Do your tricks and make it go away.
I need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Also, Matista and Santos.
Santos? Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on?
Freeze, filth. You're under arrest.